they're more than likely going to start the regular season without three guys that they were probably counting on to be on their opening day roster. There's a bit of a roster crunch dilemma with the Astros, really, other than Cam Smith. Now, Cam Smith making the roster kind of throws another name into the hat and maybe gets rid of somebody else that you thought or we thought or everybody thought that could potentially make the Astros. Now, I did see that they sent down Nick Hernandez today. Go Cougs. I saw that they sent down my guy, Forshea Whitcomb. They reassigned him to minor league camp. I imagine we'll see Forshea bouncing around with the Astros again. He won't do anything with the Astros. He'll go kill it in Sugarland, but Forshea won't do anything with the Astros. So these are kind of like we'll do one Cam Smith one here. But is there room for both Cam Smith and Zach Dezenzo, do you think?
Yes. I think there is a scenario where you could have room for both of them. Yes.
Interesting. Because if you keep I think that there is a scenario where you can keep both of them as well. Now, I think it's unlikely. Now, if you do keep both of them, you probably cutting Ben Gamel. Like, Ben Gamel, I don't see – and Jon Singleton, by the way.
I think Jon Singleton's gone.
I think he should be gone.
Yeah.
He's done nothing at the big league level. He's done nothing in spring training. I don't think you can continue to justify a roster spot for Jon Singleton. I'm a big Jon fan. He's jacked like me, and I like guys that are jacked like me. He used to have a lot of fun in his younger days. I have no problem with that. So I'm a big Jon Singleton fan, but he just hasn't cut it out as a big leaguer, and just because he's left-handed doesn't justify his roster spot. Like, you're left-handed and bad. Like, what good does that do? So if you keep Cam and Dezenzo, I think Jon Singleton and Ben Gamel are gone.
Yeah, I just, Dezenzo is a guy that I mentioned at the start of camp that I was keeping a close eye on because he also came in, looked like he put on some muscle, but he came in great shape. I don't worry about his bat. I just worry about where you play him in the field. And now, because of the fact that he's hit well in the spring, I think there's a chance that they could find a way to keep him on the roster. Now, you're right. It's going to affect some people. I don't think Jon Singleton's going to make this team. He's out of options. I would be curious if they try and sign him to Sugarland or try to do something to keep him around. But, I mean, how many different lives is Jon Singleton going to have with the Astros? From the standpoint of, Dezenzo, because he's not a great defender, it's interesting because you got a couple of veterans that are definitely in the mix to try and make this ball club. And I don't know if it affects both of them. And then you kind of take a step back in terms of your backup utility type infielder type position if Dezenzo makes it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, see, I don't think it's a guarantee that Dezenzo hits at this level. Like, he's not so much of a, yes, that's his strong. He's a better hitter than he is a defender. He's athletic too, though. Like, he's kind of like a poor man's Cam Smith in that he can hit, now not to the level of Cam Smith, and he's a bit of an athlete too. Like, played shortstop in high school, can move around a little bit. It's why they think he can play, either corner outfield spot. I don't think that they keep both of them on the big league roster because I think it's going to be hard to find both of them every day at bats. I think that it's maximum one of those two guys. Now, there is a scenario. I completely agree. I think there's a maximum one of those guys. And I also think there's a better chance that they don't keep either one as opposed to keeping both of them. Now, if I had to pick one, 0 or 2, I'm picking 0.
Now, if you had to
but
pick
I think one of them,
which one are you picking?
I think it might be Cam. I don't know. I go back and forth on this because I think there's like a 40% chance Cam makes the team. But if he makes the team, I don't think Dezenzo does. But I could also see them just be like, here you go, Zach. You've already started your clock. Like, let's give you the at-bats. Let's let Cam Smith learn right field. Because Dezenzo played right field in the Winter League. So it's tight. Like, it's tight. If they keep one, it's tight. I think there's a decent chance they don't keep either.
That's why I asked. Because I think that obviously all the hype train – it can't get out of the station soon enough to get Cam Smith on this roster. But when we talk about and we highlight the fact that he hasn't had a whole lot of professional experience, even in the minor leagues, is he ready for all of this? And if he's not, then it's Dezenzo. But, I think that because of the fact they both have been hitting so well, and we know that there's a lot of eyes on what's going on with Chaz and Jake, and to see if those guys are going to be able to do anything for you in the outfield, that's where the question marks are. If those two guys can both help you, then I would like them to at least get creative, but I'm kind of with you. Like, if I have to choose between the two, Dezenzo at least has been there, done that, and had a little success offensively to where if he's played some right field, I'll start him in right field if I have to. But I kind of believe that they're going to give Chaz every opportunity to succeed as well as Jake, and to start the year, they're still going to start those two guys in the outfield.
So you think there's a better chance that there's 0 than 2?
I think, yes.
Yeah, we're on the same page there. Okay, which backup infielder are you keeping? Like, even if you cut Singleton, it's going to be difficult for both Brendan Rodgers and Luis. Is it Guillermo?
Guillermo.
He says his name funny.
Guillermo.
Is it Guillermo? I thought he said it funny, but whatever. Which of those two, if you're only keeping one, do you keep?
See, I think offensively, that's where it comes down to. I think Guillermo's probably a better fielder, but I don't think Rodgers is a bad fielder. But I think between the two of them, it's who do you have more confidence in would be a better offensive player for you. And I go back and forth on this. I lean Rodgers.
I mean,
Rodgers is easily the better offensive player. The thing that I struggle with, though, is that Rodgers only plays one position.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he only plays second, whereas Guillermo, it's actually pronounced Guillorme. Yes, I knew it was weird.
Really?
But, yeah, it's Guillorme. I just pulled it up on Baseball Reference. I heard Callis say it the other day. I'm like, who the heck is he talking about?
Because I thought ESPN
and then I realized,
guys, when I saw Mets games, I thought they said Guillermo.
I'm looking at Pro.
Well, I
look,
believe
maybe that is the case, but yeah, Pro Baseball Reference has it Guillorme, and Callis said it the other day. I was like, who? Like, I had to do a triple, quadruple listen. But whatever. He plays multiple positions, so it comes down: do you want the offense or do you want the defense? Because if you want yes, Rodgers can play a good defensive second base, is a former Gold Glove winner, but he doesn't have the position flexibility. So if they want to keep a guy who has position flexibility, they go Guillorme. If they want the bat, they go Rodgers. And then Dubon, the fact that he can play multiple positions, maybe they can keep the bat in Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
Now there is an outside chance they could keep both, cut Singleton, cut Gamble. And then, like, both of those rookies that we just talked about aren't on the roster.
Yeah, I haven't. I mean, I don't think at the lack of a price tag that Gamble cost you too that should prevent you from doing what you need to do. And I think that they do have so much versatility and flexibility with those three guys, as backup infielders, including Dubon in with Rodgers and Guillermo. To me, I think I thought it was always going to come down to either Guillermo or Rodgers, but
same.
Yeah, and I think if they move on from Gamble, then so be it.
I just don't want to put a whole lot of stock in Brendan Rodgers as I know he's probably the better offensive player, but just like his offense, when you look at his career numbers, his career OPS outside of Coors Field is 628. Like, he's outside of Coors Field, he's not been a good hitter in his career. So maybe he's the better offensive player of these two, but I don't know if I'm making the decision because of his offense.
Touche. If you had to keep that's a good point. If you only had to keep one left-handed bat, Gamble or Singleton?
Gamble. Right now, Gamble, because Singleton's just been awful.
Yeah.
And it's not a great choice to make, but I would lean Gamble, and he had success last year at the end of the year.
I'm with you there. One thing that I don't want to use the word concerned, but has my attention. The one thing that has my attention, do you realize that the Astros are more than likely? Like, if you set down Joe Espada and the law firm of Murphy and Miller, and you said you're getting through spring training healthy, we're not including McCullers, we're not including Luis Garcia because they're not going to be ready yet. If they could write down their 13 pitcher pitching staff, 3 of the guys in the bullpen don't look like they're going to start on opening day. So already a thin bullpen right after Hader and Abreu. They're more than likely going to start the regular season without 3 guys that they were probably counting on to be on their opening day roster. Caleb Ort, he hadn't started throwing yet. Have y'all seen him start throwing?
Nope.
I haven't heard that he started. Caleb Ort's going to be gone. Sean Dubin, I think he might be tossing now, but Sean Dubin's not going to be ready. And then Forrest Whitley now with his knee. So, it's already a thin bullpen, and now the Astros pen has 3 guys that were more than likely, if everybody could get through healthy, going to be on the opening day roster that they're not going to have available. So that's kind of like, okay, let's see that bottom of the bullpen. Let's see those low-leverage guys, because that's already, before opening days even started, has already taken a hit.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. Look, I like the fact that there are other candidates that have performed well in spring training that, at least in the bullpen, could give you some options. But Ort was a guy that, before we started spring training, I was relying on, and we all had conversations about, as a guy that might be able to fill the role of the seventh inning guy because he was so effective down the stretch, and now he hasn't started throwing yet. And now here we are again watching all these arms with all these injuries and crossing our fingers and hoping that at least one's going to step up and be ready maybe and speed up the clock to where we can, have someone else in the mix. But it is something that you're right. You definitely have to keep an eye on, especially because you got rid of Presley and because Scott at the end of the year was not his first half self. And so there's some guys to kind of really watch. And you're also relying on a guy like Forrest Whitley, which you've never had to rely on before, too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I think Ridley's going to be ready for the start of the year. Like with the knee. Like he's probably not going to be available. So Caleb Ort, you're counting on him to be in your bullpen, maybe even your seventh inning guy. Forrest Whitley, who had been really good in spring training, who they were even talking about being a multi-inning guy, like 4 or 5 outs maybe. And then Sean Dubin, who might have been the long guy, already without those three. So, we thought that the Astros bullpen was thin, kind of top-heavy, and on top of that, opening day is going to roll around, and they're not going to have 3 of those guys. Hopefully, and it shouldn't be long-term, knock on wood. Pitcher's injuries kind of crazy. But,
especially in this organization.
Yeah, I know. Something to monitor.